Hello and welcome back to Technical Tales Galactic Science. Things are going well. I've got myself this little doohickey here in my hand called a charged porter. This RF charged item allows you to teleport to a previously set matter receiver. Sneak right-click on the receiver to set the destination. Right-click to perform the teleportation. Whoosh! And here I am at my little teleporting station. Now, that did not use much energy. This thing holds, 200,000 RF, and that used 8,000 RF. But it uses more energy the further you have to go. So one thing I might want to do is I've got these capacitor banks which let me charge items. I might want to have some of those next to the teleport stations, or at least next to that teleport station. So if I've used the charge porter from another dimension and it's almost empty, I can charge it up nice and quickly, because I always want this thing fully charged and available for emergencies. Now there's actually a quest. Hang on, I want to make sure I don't get that that bug which crashes the game. I have updated to the latest versions of this as they've come out. I've not got it set to automatically update the mod pack because I always want to make sure I have a backup of the world before I, install a new version of the mod pack. So it's possible that bug is broken. I mean, is broken? Yeah, well, it's possible the bug is broken, i.e. fixed, no longer a bug. Anyway, there are a couple of quests in here to do with making capacitors. Basic power capacitor, not those ones, here we go. Basic capacitor banks. And they've got more advanced capacitor banks, so I may as well make some of these as part of this quest line, and then I can have them next to the things. I did also realise that I didn't get my rewards for making the dimensional anchor, which is 20 keratin and a reward bag. Select the middle one. It's a basic reward bag. Spawn zombie. That is more than useless to me at this stage, seeing as I'm spawning zombies left and right. Keratin. Now I've got this spawner running. The Enderman spawner is not running because it currently uses too much power. I can sort that out once I have a few more resources so I can expand my power generation. I keep picking up random oak saplings that are just laying about the place, coming from here. They just sort of ping through the walls and stuff. One thing, I'm not sure if I've ever explained what these things are, or did I? Basically, these are hooked up to some auto-crafters, so I can give it wood and stone, and it will auto-craft hoes and axes. Anyway, back to the teleportation. So, here we have a matter transmitter, a matter receiver. There is a dialing device, there's a destination analyzer, so you can check whether it's safe to teleport somewhere. And underneath the matter transmitter, I've put a matter booster, which means this thing will be able to teleport to a receiver that is unpowered. And I want to make this my standard setup for this. I want to always be able to, in an emergency, teleport somewhere. So if I show you this, dialing device, moon base, target the Mars base, click check. You don't have to, but this says it's fine to do it. And dial once. You can dial, which will set up a permanent connection, but I think dial once makes more sense. And then that shows it's active. Start teleportation. Ooh, you always take a little bit of damage when you teleport. And here we are on Mars. So, the bubble wasn't working. When I came here to fix up the base, even though I was inside the oxygen bubble, my oxygen tanks were still being used. So I switched to a couple of oxygen sealers, and I've also got an oxygen compressor here, so I can refill my oxygen tanks if I want. The oxygen collector's still up there because it needs to be close to the leaves. And I'm going to grow a couple of extra trees. So I just neatened this up a bit, sealed it. I realised that I didn't need the fence. Once this thing was already mining, I could get rid of the fence. So I took away a bit of the fence, which has let me seal the base in now nicely. Can't really see on the surface. I need to set up like elevator blocks so I can get in and out of the base. But this thing is now mining a lot quicker than it was. As you can see, we're having trouble even keeping up. We're overloading with subsurface rock because we aren't able to sift it quickly enough. But it means we're getting a lot more dash, a lot more tin, which is going to be good because we're going to be upgrading the rockets soon. And it's so good just to be able to walk there and back. So here's the dimensional transceiver, the extra one I had. And you can see if I go to power, it's set to receive mains power, which is from the moon base. So yeah, excellent. Mars, moon, dial once. There we go. So, one of the things I want to do today, because the gold situation is improving, but I'm still quite low on gold, is apparently Mercury is a good place to get gold. Don't know why I walked in there, didn't mean to. I wanted sugar. There we go. Apparently Mercury is a good place to get gold. And there's a number of other planets which are within range of our Tier 2 rocket. So I think it's worth me whipping up some colony base kits. And the colony base kit will consist of set of like an oxygen collector, compressor, and say 3 oxygen sealers. Dimensional transceiver to wirelessly get the power, and the stuff needed for a teleport system. An ender quarry, and another dimensional chest. What else? That's it, I think. I don't think I need anything else for an off-world colony. And the idea, the only other thing is, rather than using fences to tell the ender quarry where to dig, I want to make ender markers. Ender markers. I did sort of get halfway through making these the first time I made that ender quarry, and I realised it was going to take far too many resources and too much power. Because you've got to stick this thing in a QED and stuff like that. And I didn't really have many ender pearls at the time. So what these are is basically you put down 4 sticks, and then you put the ender quarry near one of the sticks, and it tells it where to dig. A lot easier than having to put down a couple of 100 fence posts. So I think I also want a set of these, which means I am going to actually have to build stuff in this base, because I think you need an ender infuser to make a QED. Oh no, it's just shaped crafting. Control energized ender flux. This energy can be used to... Oh no, okay. So you can make the QED easy enough, but you need to have ender flux. You must place ender crystal pillars nearby in order to use it. Where do I get the pillars from? I've seen this done, but I'm not quite sure. Basically, I'm going to need a room, I think, in order to power the QED device. I think I may have lost the QED device. Some of my equipment appears to be missing. Maybe I lost it when I died at some point? Anyway, so I'm going to work on getting all that together. I'm not going to make you watch me craft anything, and I might need to, as I say, make a room in order to have this QED device in. So if I do, I'll probably have like another offshoot to the base somewhere. Again, I probably won't bother giving it an atmosphere because it's a room that that I only occasionally need to pop into. Or it might just fit here because there's a bit of open space there which isn't really being used for anything. So I will see you when I'm done, and we can maybe go set up a base on Mercury. So I just finished up on everything, and I looked at one of the bags, and that's when I remembered that I actually had some ender markers that were given as a reward. But I'd already made this by then, so that's okay. These are ender flux crystals. They're relatively cheap to make. Now I have an unlimited supply of ender pearls. And they provide ambient power, like you don't have to run wires to them or anything. They are the power source for the quantum emission decompiler. And so if I show you how this works, 2 ender infused obsidian. I need an ender pearl. I think I put all the ender pearls away. Then it works away, and they all power down. The more of those you have, the quicker it works. And there you go, 1 ender marker. Other things I've done. This thing's off at the moment. Now this thing had an octadic capacitor in it, which meant it ran really quickly, but also drew an awful lot of power. So I've replaced that with a double layer capacitor, so it runs slower than it was before, but still reasonable speed. So that initial spawn was there ready before we started. We'll wait for the next spawn. Actually we won't, because that will be boring for you. But, there you go. See, it runs fast enough. I also added... Well, I upgraded all the remaining steel turbines to vibrant turbines and added 4 more. So we now have 18 turbines. We produce 9,000 per tick at maximum. And as you can see, that means that with my current power draw, I can run the Enderman spawner without draining the system anymore. And the fuel is still keeping up. So that's good. Other things that have happened. If we pop to Mars, and I'm so pleased that I can just do this, the Ender Quarry here finished, and as you can see it very kindly turned a strip of my base into dirt. So lesson learned, make sure that the area for the Ender Quarry does not include any part of your base. So I just stuck glass in the windows again to recomplete the seal. And now the Ender Quarry is over here. I've put it behind glass so it remains sealed. And I basically just made a great big square out there with the ender markers. Put the Ender Quarry down in one of the corners, and that's good. Oh yeah, because I was working here at night, I wanted to make it be daytime. So I brought my cryogenic thing up with me. So let us head back. And in here we have the starts of our colony kits. So, fuel loader and a launch pad, just in case. And oxygen compressor, 3 oxygen sealers, and an oxygen collector. And we're also going to bring some dirt, saplings, and bone meal. So there we have our dimensional transceiver. Then we've got matter transmitter and receiver, a dialing device, a destination analyzer, and a matter booster, and the Ender Quarry. And we've got the ender markers on us. So if I take this top row, and for safety we're going to stick it in this golden bag of holding that has reincarnation. So if something happens we don't lose it all. That looks good. Want to keep the charged porter to hand in case of an emergency. I can always just zap myself back here. And I think we're going to Mercury. Because I need gold. I have very little gold. That's fully loaded. So yeah, so there's a launch controller here. I was going to be using these to sort of automatically run stuff back and forth between the planets, so I could sort of like choose my destination planet and then it would just take me there. But I don't think it's as needed anymore. They're still useful to put down because if this option here isn't ticked, then the launch pad stays there when I launch. And seeing as I have spare launch pads with me, you know, I'd rather that one stayed there. Okay, into the rocket. Quick check on the fuel. Yep, that's okay. And launch. Right, so let's find out what Mercury is like. Mercury, tier 2, zoom again. And launch. Now, do I have to slow myself down? Yes, I do. Hold space to slow down. So we can't see any planet yet. Probably just means it hasn't spawned in. Which means, despite this, means I'm going a lot slower. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but I think it gets cut off. To the left of the oxygen stuff, the thermal line is showing the temperature here is not nice. But luckily I should have all the thermal padding on. Of course it's night time and full of mobs. So let me get out and start battling. Luckily the titanium armor I've got is very good. Okay, that's got rid of the worst of them. Okay, gravity is not as heavy as Mars, but not as light as the Moon. So we're just going to make our way back to the spaceship. Deal with any mobs that show up. Okay, so that's my tier 2 rocket. Does that stay there? Well, I've got the tier 2 rocket, that's what's important. So I think rather than building a surface base, now we've got teleport and stuff, we're going to go underground. In the long run, it's going to be quicker. Okay, so the first thing we should do is set up the teleport system to get back. So let's do that on this wall here. Oops. Forgot to put the pick back into single block mode. Actually, I think I'll put the teleports in this wall here because that way I can center it. Right, so if I just put my power tesseract down there, I can tap off it later. We want to receive mains power. Hang on, does that need to be one lower? Nope, I dug out wrong. That needs to go there, that needs to go down another one. Okay. So the matter receiver goes there. The matter booster wants to go underneath the matter transmitter. Then I can put my destination analyzer on top and the dialing device there. Right, you want to right-hand click these and give them the name. We're not receiving any power. Set this to push power in all the directions. Oh yes, I discovered that doesn't work. The power won't actually flow through the destination analyzer to reach the dialing device. So you need to run a bit of wire, I think. There we go. I'll make that look pretty later. So now we should be able to go Mercury base, Moon base, check. Dial OK. Right, so that will actually work now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not tall enough for trees. I forgot the dirt and the saplings. But that's okay, that's why we have this thing set up to start with. That made me jump. There's a dark spot somewhere, I don't know where it is. Keep getting mobs spawning. That's annoying. When I arrived, I ended up facing the wrong way. I might need to move this to that wall. Just so that doesn't happen. Because I quite like that when I pop between Mars and the Moon, I'm always facing out when I arrive. Should be enough room for this to grow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Okay, so we'll fill the rest of that space up with leaves later. So we can run ourselves some power. Let's even this out a bit. Alright, so that's an oxygen collector, 3 oxygen sealers, and an oxygen compressor. So give them power, and give them oxygen. Oxygen pipe. Right, so how much are we collecting? 158 per second. And we're sealed. And we've got our oxygen compressor, so we can always have a spare heavy there. Right, so this is set up. This is so easy, which is good, because it means that when it comes to other places, I can just easily do something like this. So that's going to move over to there. So if I'm going to make a way up to the surface, I need to do it here. I think I should make sure that it's daytime. Now, if this game is sticking close to reality, then the day and night on Mercury should be a very long cycle. Because Mercury does spin. It's not tidally locked to the sun, but it takes like two-thirds of a Mercury year, or about, what, 60 days for the sun to rise and set on Mercury. So this is Mercury. So how fast is that sun moving? It's moving a little faster than I would have thought should be the case for Mercury. Right, let's not lose our base. Okay, that's the coordinates recorded, just in case I need them. Okay, so some quite tall hills here on Mercury. We're not really seeing anything else of immediate interest. There's probably dungeons and stuff underground, but I don't think I really need them. I've lost my base already. Okay, there's my base. So are you just a normal meteorite? Same as we would get on the moon. Fallen meteor, yeah. So now we set up the ender quarry. Okay, that's going to move over here. I want to make sure the ender quarry doesn't interfere with the base at all. So we're going to run power up to this ender quarry. That ender marker has to go on one corner of the square. Sorry. The ender quarry has to go next to one of those markers. So that's going to be one corner of this square. We're at a y of 90, so we go this way. Let's try here. It's got to be at the same level, and you can put it down. And if you get the sparkly effect, then I think it means it's hooked up. So then we'll go this way and make sure we're in line. So I think that should do it. Put the ender quarry down, right hand click it. Analyzing fence boundary, found attached ender marker. Quarry marker is square is incomplete. Okay, I need to put the fourth one down. Which means I need the coordinates, because I need it to line up. So that's an x of 19. So this way until x is 19. No, that's wrong because the x is not changing. Z of 225, that's what I need. Z225. I can't remember what the y is supposed to be. It's very hot today, and I have very little brain. So let's mark that point. It is a y of 90, so it's higher. That's what confused me. I need to actually build up. There we go. That's a square boundary set up, so now it should work. Remember that falling damage is a thing on planets other than the Moon. Alright, so now if I right-hand click it, successfully established boundary. Okay, do I have a dimensional chest? I do not have a dimensional chest, but obviously I will make a dimensional chest, whack it on top of that. And then once it gets power, I will be able to beam stuff from Mercury back to my base. So let's get some quite clear glass and some sealable aluminium wire. Yeah, so this is going to end up over there, but one lower than it is there. So the dimensional thing's going to be there. And I just want to replace that with a sealable aluminium wire. So that's it. The Mercury base is set up. So I need to go make myself a dimensional chest, and then I will reconfigure the teleport, hook up the power. I can stick the Mercury dimensional chest into my system on the Moon and configure it to process all the stuff I get. So I'll show you that at the start of the next episode. Until then, bye bye.